kick it over to Andy now.
So in a world teeming with data where human touch intertwines with digital efficiency, we're really standing on the cusp of an unprecedented revolution. Artificial intelligence, or AI, once was a distant dream of science fiction, and it's now catapulted our daily lives, really with a force that's reshaping how we perceive and analyze and interact with a huge tapestry of human experience. So today, when we delve into an era where AI doesn't just complement our efforts, but it amplifies our ability to unearth profound research and insights and narratives that can define the research that we're doing. In the dawn of this new era, qual research beckons as a promise for a future where insights are not only just gathered, but really deeply understood, and at a scale and a speed once unimaginable. So welcome to the frontier of AI-powered qual research, where every voice matters and every story is a beacon and a guiding light for business decisions. The future is now, and it's more human than ever. As a founder and CTO at Voxpopme, I've been fortunate enough to work with our team at the forefront of applying AI to video research and really make human stories even more scalable and accessible for insights teams of all sizes. Voxpopme is a provider of innovative qual research and tools that are used by researchers, marketeers, and product managers at many of the world's largest companies. But before we get into Voxpopme's AI-powered technology, let's cast our mind back to November of 2022. In November of 2022, AI released ChatGPT, and it was the first time that anyone could really interact easily with AI. We refer to this as generative AI. So what is so special about generative AI? Well, generative AI responds to us in a way that we'd expect a friend or another human to respond to us, and it understands the nuance and context of our conversation. And Gen AI in particular has taken artificial intelligence from a lofty ideal that was only really used in difficult to access systems or potentially not available to us at all into a practical tool that businesses can be used for tangible benefits. And for researchers, this technology and this advancement is absolutely huge. It has the potential to help you conduct research in a much more effective and efficient manner. And it's the kind of leap we haven't really seen since the internet arrived. But when you think of the impact of the internet on research, it was mostly associated with transforming quantitative research, moving from paper studies to in-person and in-person to online, and making data analysis even more possible at scale. And we've heard so much over this time around big data and trying to understand that at that greater scale. But it's only really in the last decade that qual research has been easier through mobile ethnographies and online interviews and focus groups. But the advancement in AI has pushed this forward even more recently. And what makes generative AI so exciting for researchers? Because the scalability that was given to quant by the internet has now been brought into qual. This happens through that transition that we've seen and the research we can conduct utilizing AI. And the result, it's a faster, more scalable research that really empowers insights professionals to get deeper insights and humanize that research that we're doing. So when we look back on this technological leap in a decade's time, we firmly believe that AI, at least in market research, will be recognized for transforming qualitative research and really enabling us to have those near instant communications with consumers. So it's time to delve deeper into what's possible with AI-powered tools that are available today. Just 14 months after that, generative AI burst onto the scene with ChatGPT, and see how this can really accelerate your understanding of consumers on a human level. So still to come in the demo today, I'll be showing you some of the most exciting tools with Voxpopme AI-powered product suite, making AI capabilities even more tangible. Also demonstrate how these tools impact real research that we're doing by comparing that head-to-head with the results of a case study we conducted with AI tools versus the seasoned research professional. And lastly, we'll look at the importance of blending human expertise with AI to unlock the full potential. So first off, starting with AI discussion guides. When you're preparing for your next live interview, you can turn your research objectives into a discussion guide full of engaging questions utilizing AI. And I'm going to show you how to say goodbye to writer's block. So with Voxpopme discussion guide generator, you can use AI to really empower you to create these discussion guides extremely quickly. Here on the left-hand side, we can type in what our objective is. So here we want to understand consumers' perceptions and attitudes towards AI at home and in the workplace. And we can choose the duration of that discussion that we're going to have in our live interview. For this example, we're going to use 15 minutes. We can generate this discussion guide now. So in real time, this is going to stream back the results of the discussion guide from the generative AI. You can utilize this in the Voxpopme platform, but also as well on our website if you want to access it and give this a try for yourselves. It will generate the example questions through the discussion guide. Also give you time to spend on each section so that you've got a rough guide of how to make sure that you're going to fit that within the 15-minute duration or whatever duration you choose. And from here, you can download that as a PDF and utilize it, or you can edit those questions and reorder them or change them around as much as you need to. But as you can see there, extremely quick to get us a real quick start to a discussion guide we can utilize for our live interviews. So you can invite Voxpopme Recorder into your meetings and ensure that behind-the-scenes recording happens and uploading of the video to Voxpopme is completely automatic. This ensures that we never lose any of that crucial qual data, and you're not juggling clunky video files for every conversation that you have. And all of those live interviews and IDIs and discussions are directly into the platform without any effort for yourselves, making it a completely frictionless process. So concentrating on our AI insights capabilities, you can generate real-time consumer insights from in-depth interviews and focus groups. And with AI-generated summaries and findings and recommendations, get to the bottom of the information extremely quickly and efficiently. So our AI analysis tool really allows us to distill complex data from our interviews into digestible summaries and reveal discussion topics and key themes almost instantaneously. So that allows us to get real-time consumer insight from in-depth interviews and focus groups. So as you can see in here, we have a summary of what's happened within the video. We're looking right now at a single IDI that's taken place out of this. We can also look at these things across a group of videos as well. And we start off by looking at the discussion points around that video and then go into key findings and themes. And as you can see from here right away, we're seeing things around job threats, the limitations on human imagination, the impact on specific industries and its role in society. And then we also provide recommendations off the back of the insights that have been found, which can really help us with further research or areas that we could focus on off the back of this. So in here, we can see the importance of regulation on AI. The important thing around the summaries that we find is also providing key evidence through quotes and video snippets, which can be played back and also used to generate showreels and share those findings as well. And then the great thing about this is it's not only pulling out that evidence to ensure the accuracy of all the data that we're finding, but it also allows us to really pull through that human emotion and that human storytelling as part of that research. So I'll bring up an example here.
Well, it doesn't scare me because it's not really going to affect me, touch wood. But I say I read football strategy.
And that's so important for us to make sure we're bringing through that human story at every stage of research that we're doing. So this isn't just about speed, but it's about depth. And whether this is a single interview or a data set spanning hours and hours of content, you can really unveil those comprehensive insights in just a few clicks. And on top of this, providing that insight for those video clips allows us to generate reports and have those shared out very quickly and simply from the platform. So as well as having a structured format for summarizing the information that we have through AI, it's also important to be able to interrogate that data in a way that you wish. So with our interactive chats, you can get quicker insights by asking questions of your qual data into that interactive chat window. So beyond that data extraction, it's really important to get to that underlying data in the way that suits us. And we now want to be able to engage with it in a different way. So our interactive chat, which is built in, allows direct questioning of that data set to get to the summaries of the findings. So the summaries that we have on the left side give us a really good framework that is structured for everything that we're looking at to give us that consistency. But there's going to be nuance to the information that you want to look at. There's going to be nuance to every one of those individual videos or across a project data set of videos as well. So this isn't just a simple search query, but it's an intelligent conversation that you're having with the data. So that allows for that nuanced inquiry and dynamic responses. We also provide some examples of questions that can be utilized. And the great thing about it is it stops that kind of blank page scenario where you're not sure what to ask of the data. And these questions are generated from the data sets that you're currently looking at as well. So they'll be very specific to either this particular interview or the project or the data sets that you're looking at that time. In here, we've got a great one around what are the user's primary concerns about the application of AI in the entertainment industry. So I can click onto that or ask any specific question that I want, and straight away the AI will come back with its summary. So you can see in here the major concerns revolve around its potential rendering of human skills and jobs obsolete. And you can see then a breakdown of job loss and the example here about the Writers Guild strike, loss of creativity and originality. And this will continue to kind of provide some extremely good insights into that specific area. So we've got the great format of the reporting side on the left, and then that nuance and that intrigue that you can utilize on the right-hand side to pull out those particular areas of quotes and detail that you need. So that really helps us to build out that other set of data reporting or evidence that we need, share that insight that we have with key stakeholders in the businesses or other members of our team. And so often when we're conducting this research, that exploratory nature of the research we're doing leads to more questions and the need for iterative research. And so with smart SurvAI tools within Voxpopme, you can seamlessly continue that research process with AI suggested questions and deploy bigger sample sizes and use AI-powered video survey builder in order to create those and launch those extremely quickly. This can be through recommendations in platform for that follow-up research and really combine the different styles of research that you're doing at every stage. So quite often when we're conducting our research and we're dipping between different types of research methodologies, and with smart SurvAI, it can help you to launch a more agile approach to conducting that qual research. And typically this is done with a 3 to 5 short video questions that will go out to a larger sample size. This could be, anything from 50 people to 500 people, and you can utilize the Voxpopme audiences that are available, or communities and audiences that you already have. So in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize the same type of objective that we had when we showed you the discussion guide to see the differences when you're producing an agile qualitative video survey. So we're going to call this AI research, and in our objective, understand consumer feedback around AI and its impact on the home and the workplace. We can then go to the next stage of setting up this project, and what this is going to do is pull out 3 video questions. And these can be regenerated, reordered, edited, or removed as you wish to make sure that it is the type of research that you need. You can also add extra context to this, whether there be certain audiences or markets that might impact the type of questions that you want to ask. But right away, as you see, I've now got a video study that I'm ready to launch, and I can just go right through, choose the Voxpopme audience, and launch that to those respondents, and within minutes and hours start gathering that video feedback as well. So the ability to dip between more in-depth qual research and quick qual research through video surveys is super easy within the tool, and you can start to then understand so many different levels of your research. So the question that we all have on our minds is, how does qualitative AI tools in the field, how do they compare with what we typically have done as researchers? And in order to understand this, the Voxpopme team teamed up with Kira Greenberg, a seasoned professional and qual researcher, and we came together to see if we could put AI to the test, computer versus human. So the overall goal of the research that we set out to do was to answer a couple of key questions. The first one, what are consumers' attitudes towards AI? What are their associations and understandings? What are the benefits, drawbacks, and projections? And also, how are they using AI today? So the project was an interview series exploring usage and attitude towards AI. Kira had access to the Voxpopme platform to help with automating recruitment, scheduling of those IDIs, but she wasn't able to use the generative AI in the platform to generate questions, do the analysis, or come up with any recommendations. On the other side of that, Voxpopme accessed the same interviews conducted by Kira, but was able to use all of the generative AI tools and everything from crafting research questions to analyzing the unstructured data that we had that came out of those live interviews. So first off, let's look at the numbers. As you can see, the AI really accelerated a lot of the key stages that we had through this research process, and making tasks that previously were quite timely, able to do those in unimaginable speed. And looking back at the capabilities I shared with you earlier, we can see these different stages. The discussion guide, the human approach obviously comes with a time cost, especially if you factor in any writer's block for trying to come up with that. But from an AI perspective, when you provide a simple articulated prompt, it's able to produce a discussion guide full of questions that can drastically reduce that time. The next stage we look at is analyzing the interviews themselves. So it takes humans hours to manually analyze and interpret the interviews, even with great transcription tools. And this is very obvious in those stages where the researcher isn't necessarily part of the interviews that were conducted. Then it takes us even longer to understand because we weren't there at the time of those interviews being conducted. The AI, however, was able to process these hours of video data in just minutes and provide the summaries, key themes, and insights, and then able to make recommendations for both business decisions and further research that could be followed on. From there, we looked at interrogating the data, and this is probably one of the most resource-heavy tasks for a researcher. And this is where AI really comes into its own, especially with a lot of those mundane and repetitive tasks. Manually sifting through a lot of the data to create those insights, and the huge range of lenses you have to use to look at that data obviously take a lot of time. Whereas interacting with generative AI, you can use the suggested questions that it comes up with, or custom prompts to instantly retrieve answers about the data in a particular way that you see fit. And then from there, we look at sharing those insights. So lastly, for humans, it takes time to really find and perfect the clips and tell that human story through highlights and those insights, as well as pulling that out into any kind of report formats that you might need. On the flip side, the AI can produce those automated video highlights, format that information as we wish, and efficiently enable us to deliver that information and share with stakeholders rapidly. So AI wins hands down, and we should all retire, right? Well, not quite. We all know that's not the full story, and we need to look at the impact of AI from a qual lens rather than judging it purely based on the speeds it affords us. So on that first stage with discussion guides, while the production time was very high, the human discussion guide was very exploratory, and did require a few edits. The AI rapid production, we found, gave us sometimes a narrower focus. So that gave us a great structure, but we also required a human lens, and we also needed a quick round of edits to make sure that exploratory nature of those qual questions wasn't completely lost. On the analyzing of the interviews themselves, the human approach was intensive, but it did allow Kira to make connections and the laddering of those themes by examining the data. It revealed nuance, subjective insight, although human bias is something we also need to be aware of. AI, on the other hand, removed the human lens first, ensuring that we had consistency through that analysis, and removes that human bias as well, which can be an advantage. We also need to be aware of bias that could be within AI technology. Again, this is why it's important to combine, that human factor into this research. And this is why leading with AI to handle a huge amount of volume of data is a great starting point, but applying that lens is also a must for us. Interrogating the data. So without AI, it was incredibly targeted and enriched by the researcher's knowledge and domain expertise, we found. Also, this is something that we need to be aware of if the researcher was also the person who was conducting those interviews. But if we look at the AI in this stage, it was more like a co-pilot guiding our interactions with the data. So we could combine that expertise and the information that we have along with the AI's efficiency to dig deeper into that. The watch out with the AI is the potential for hallucinations, and again, emphasizing the need for human input. But one of the factors that we make sure within our platforms is the evidence that we have behind the data and the interrogating of that in order to make sure we can reduce that impact of any hallucinations that might happen within the data. And then sharing the insight. The human-only approach did allow us to have a true creative storytelling and ownership over that narrative. But the AI had an ability to automatically extract relevant quotes and significantly streamline the creation of those deliverables like showreels and reports. So this not only saved a considerable amount of time, but allowed for a more focused approach to delve into specific areas of interest and demonstrating AI's kind of practical application in reducing the manual workload. And we talked earlier about the drudgery and mundane tasks. This is where it really comes into its own as well. So needless to say, Kira, our human researcher, spent much more time with this project than the AI did. And as a researcher, that often meant holding a lot of information in her head and spending hours on end, does often give a clear, intuitive, overarching narrative without being too bogged down in the details, and creates that kind of top-down thematic approach to that research. The AI, however, looking at all of the detail and providing summaries from that, is working more from a bottom-up perspective and uncovering those themes without necessarily approaching that in the same way you would conducting those interviews yourself. But a great narrative is built when you can bounce between the top-down and bottoms-up approach and meet somewhere in the middle. And when it comes to needing to return to the details, AI can be really useful partner so that you can focus your time where human touch is critical, but gain that extra information and context at the time that you need it. So you just need to figure out how to kind of combine those two areas and work with it as a research assistant and a tool that can help you along the way at every stage during that research. So what did we learn that you can take away today? So know thy partner and understand AI capabilities and the strengths and weaknesses. Explore and apply the variety of AI tools. So there's so many different tools out there that we can use, and you can utilize those at any stage during research that you see fit. It doesn't have to be every stage, and you can deep dive into those at the times where you need to. Don't be over reliant on AI as well. You're still the domain expert and the research professional, and it's there to help you move faster and move quicker. So combining those things together, it can help you be more productive, more efficient, and spend the time really ingrained in those areas of where you provide that expertise, for within your businesses and for helping the business decisions that we need to make. So I just want to thank you all for your time today. I hope you found the presentation useful and hopefully fun. If you want to continue learning about how you can apply AI to your research, we've just recently launched our AI workshops for insights teams. You can have a look at the QR code here and scan this. They're tailored sessions for you and your team. So you can book with us to learn how you can unlock AI for your specific set of research needs. So please do scan that QR code, make sure you get in touch, and we look forward to talking with you more about AI and how you can apply that within your research tool set and all the research you're conducting day to day.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Annie. That was great. Really appreciate the presentation. And we have just a couple minutes left for questions here, so feel free to keep putting questions in that Q&A box for anything you want to ask Andy. Couple questions now. How do these AI tools translate into actual length of study, and how quickly can I expect to complete a full interview study?
Yeah, so I think it's a case of adding AI in at various stages of the research process, and pretty much every stage can be sped up with that. There's going to be some variables in that, such as audience requirements and availability to conduct research, maybe with IDIs and things that might take that a little bit longer. But typically, yeah, things that would have taken weeks can be done in days now. And that's huge when you think about how fast you can move between projects and understanding and all of the requirements from other teams that are coming in thick and fast for researchers to be able to conduct that at that speed.
Yeah, that's amazing. Big time saver. That's great. How do you go about securing customer data with AI insights?
Yeah, good question. One that often comes up, and I think it's one on everyone's mind as far as making sure that their data is secure, is used in the right way. And a lot of times it's not obvious what's happening with certain AI tools in your data. But for us, we utilize Microsoft Azure for a very siloed environment and very focused on security and data privacy. We ensure that with all of our data across our platforms, and it's kind of a platform that we've got built ground up to make sure that all of our customers' data is completely secure and private. None of that data is used to be shared back with Microsoft or OpenAI or used for training purposes or anything like that. And it's never going to be available publicly on the internet. So when people are using AI tools, it's just something to be aware of. Things like using ChatGPT directly is a great tool for certain things, but if you've got proprietary information or data, you might want to be a little bit careful with what you're sharing if you don't know what's happening with that information. So.
Yeah, that's great. I think time for one more quick question here. Will AI insights work in multiple languages if I run a survey video with a non-English speaking audience?
Yes. So we're set up to run in around 60 plus languages. Typically what we see is a lot of customers are running multi-market studies. So when we transcribe those videos, a lot of that'll then get translated into English. So then utilizing AI insights on top of that for larger sets of information and large sets of videos across multiple languages at the same time can be all brought together and easily interrogated and understood as well. So yeah, any language supported and all part of the process.
Wonderful. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time. For anybody who's watching, there's a big book time with me button on the session page that you can click, and it'll take you right to Voxpopme's page to schedule a private demo. So feel free to do that. And if you missed any part of the session earlier, it's going to be on demand right after this. So thank you, Andy. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll see you in the next session.
Thanks very much. Thanks everyone.